Okay. Fingers crossed that everything sounds good. Hi, welcome to an adventure. This is my once weekly show, Archival Adventures, where I, Anthony Wright Day Hernandez, otherwise known as Rogan 27, share archive stuff from special collections and university archives at Virginia Tech. And I know that introduction seemed really scattered. It's mostly because I'm hoping that the audio sounds okay. But I have yet to see any chat reaction, so I don't know. But welcome. Audio was a big issue last week. I have attempted to do things slightly differently this week. And everything sounded good to me before I went live, but that doesn't mean that it sounds okay now. So hopefully someone will tell me if there are any problems. Yeah. So, welcome. Can you believe it's Wednesday? We're gonna share stuff from the archives today, and what that means is we're looking at historic things, and because of that, we like to start off the show with just a glance at Virginia Tech's overall history. Virginia Tech acknowledges that we live and work on the Tutelo and Monacan people's homeland, and we recognize their continued relationships with their lands and waterways. We further acknowledge that the Morrill Land Grant College Act of 1862 enabled the Commonwealth of Virginia to finance and found Virginia Tech through the forced removal of Native nations from their lands in Western territories. We understand that honoring Native peoples without explicit material commitments falls short of our institutional responsibilities. Through sustained, transparent, and meaningful engagement with the Tutelo and Monacan peoples and other Native nations, we commit to changing the trajectory of Virginia Tech's history by increasing Indigenous student, staff, and faculty recruitment and retention, diversifying course offerings, and meeting the growing needs of all Virginia tribes and supporting their sovereignty. Virginia Tech acknowledges that its Blacksburg campus sits partly on land that was previously the site of the Smithfield and Solitude plantations, owned by members of the Preston family. Between the 1770s and the 1860s, the Prestons and other local white families that owned parcels of what became Virginia Tech also owned hundreds of enslaved people. We acknowledge that enslaved black people generated wealth that financed the predecessor institution to Virginia Tech, the Preston and Olin Institute, and they also worked on construction of its building. Not until 1953, however, was the first black student permitted to enroll. Through inclusive VT, the institutional and individual commitment to ad prosim, that I may serve, in the spirit of community, diversity, and excellence, we commit to advancing a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. Just looking, make sure that everything seems to me like it's functioning properly. So let me I don't know what happened. Usually I have a couple of people around to help with that, but apparently today they at least are not here yet. So that's fine. What we're doing today, though, is we are looking at... Oh, hi, Hannah. I was like, do I remember the command? But we got it. Anyway, what we're doing today is we are looking at railroad stuff, specifically North American railroads, using the Wayne Perkins Collection. Also, Hannah, if you would confirm for me whether the audio is okay, that would be lovely. I, at the moment, need to lower the sound in my ears because it's too loud. But I had it turned up because I was testing things like the microphone earlier, and hopefully it sounds okay, because it sounded okay when I was testing it, but it did last week too, and then it sounded horrible on stream. So a little muddled, kind of like it was last time. That is frustrating. I won't say surprising, but frustrating. Indeed, frustrating. I don't have any way to hear it myself right now, I don't think. I think it's partly just that this microphone ends up sounding that way. I don't know if that is any better. Let me know. I increased the gain a little bit. I would prefer that it actually sound semi-decent to be able to actually ooh, I might have a way. This is gonna be silly. I shouldn't, but I could potentially bring up my own stream on my phone and hear what it sounds like, which, you know, fun times with that, but let's try not to get feedback. Well, it doesn't sound too bad to me, like what I'm hearing from the stream in my ear. So we will proceed with it as it is. If it goes bad, let me know. I'm very frustrated with how the audio turned out last week. I'm trying to improve it. I am getting the sense that this microphone setup that we're using, that I've been using for 3 years, could be better. And specifically, like the microphone that I have used for the last 3 years that I started the stream with last week, completely unusable at this point. So we'll see. I think it is specifically, the way that the audio is set up to hook into the computer is less than ideal, but it is what I presently have. I also don't know what's going on with the music, because it is hitting the end of a song and then stopping instead of continuing. Technology, what are you doing? It's fine. This is fine. We'll see what happens. Anyway, we're looking at railroad stuff today. Specifically the Wayne Perkins Collection. And as you can see here in the abstract, this collection is a collection of records, memorabilia, and photographs relating to a number of North American railroads, but concentrating mostly on the Norfolk and Western Railway. It includes papers of various Southwest Virginia families and a small set of personal papers. What I have with me today, I have boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the oversized folder, which is almost everything. Let's see. We have a biographical note about the person who gathered these papers together. That's always helpful in understanding what we're looking at. Oh, yeah, wow, stream elements. It took them how long? 18 minutes to announce that I'm streaming. Thanks for that. Welcome, bot. The papers that we're looking at today, the stuff that we're going to look at, these materials were gathered by Merrill Wayne Perkins, the son of Eli W. and Ethel Fielder Perkins, from Wythe County, or Wythe County. I have lived in this area now for, what, like 8 years? And I still don't know if it's Wythe County or Wythe County. It's nearby, but I've only ever seen it written. I've never heard it pronounced. So I have no idea. I generally read it Wythe County, but I have no clue. It's probably Wythe because I read it with. Anyway, married Elizabeth Williams, graduated with a degree in pharmacy from Virginia Commonwealth University in 1971. Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, is located in Richmond. Returned to Wythe County, working as a pharmacist in Wytheville, I don't know. Among his personal activities, he maintained memberships in Wythe County Historical Society and the Train Collectors Association. And it looks like at some point he must have moved to Winston-Salem or possibly just died there. I don't know. But he died in 2004, it looks like. So this collection is mostly railroad-related stuff compiled by Wayne Perkins. And we don't actively collect railroad anymore, but we used to. And so we have a lot of railroad stuff. And I realized I had never looked at any of the railroad stuff on stream. So I was like, we need to do railroad stuff. According to Wikipedia, it's Wytheville. Thank you, Hannah. I honestly had not thought to check Wikipedia for that. That is good to know. Also, Fludan, congratulations on being randomly selected as a VIP for this stream. Thanks for being here, and it's good to see you. So, I don't know what's in these boxes. We have stuff, railroads and associated companies. I think that's most of what I grabbed, but let's see. Yeah, so box 1, railroads and associated companies. Yeah, anyway, there's a lot of stuff on that finding aid. If you want to look through it and you see something that jumps out at you that you're like, I really would like to see this, let me know so that I can make sure to get it on stream, because there's definitely more stuff here than we will have time for. I think there might be one box that I don't have in the room. It says there are 8 containers or 8 boxes, but no, it looks like I have everything. There are only 7 boxes. So if you see something on the finding aid, you want to see it, let me know. But I think we should get started and actually look at things, which this is going to be an adventure. Give me 1 second. I have to stand up to actually get the materials. All right. We're starting with the oversized folder. Also, very strangely, the overhead lights I had turned down, but they're on a motion sensor, and usually it's not a problem, but today it decided to turn them on right as I went to stand up. How do I want to do this? There are some very large things in here, so this will be fun. All right, oversized folder, here we go. Let me adjust the zoom on the camera. Also, how is everybody? Are you fascinated by trains at all? I tend to be slightly fascinated. Oh, we got some glare. I used to ride a commuter train to work every day. And that took away some of the fascination, but the sort of classic train experience is not something I've ever had for myself. Let's see. We have a railway time card. So this is a schedule, I assume. Published by Charles J. Harkrader, Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee. Bristol spans the state border between Virginia and Tennessee. Schedule, in effect, July 1st, 1905. Looks like this is the Southern Railway. Eastern Standard Time, Union Station, J. Pendleton and Brothers. Oh, I think that's an ad. We've got the train schedule here, and on the left and right we've got actual times, and we'll look at them in a second. But down the center, like the very first thing here, J. Pendleton and Brother, or Brothers, not certain. Fine jewelry, clocks, watches, etc. Repairing done on short notice. It's an ad. Given pride of place on this time card. A jeweler and optician. I love this. Official watch inspector. Official watch inspector. I have questions. What is an official watch inspector, and how do they differ from an unofficial watch inspector? Did we need to do a lot of inspecting of watches? MP Dyer Liquors, Miss N.E. Snyder, Fine Millinery. I think we learned on stream sometime last year, it might have been. I don't remember when. I know the last couple of years at some point we determined that millinery specifically refers to the making of women's hats, and haberdashery refers to the making of men's hats. Yes. Positions are easily secured by competent graduates at the Bristol Business College. Like, the whole center is just ads. Shaving parlor, Dixie Foundry and Machine Works. That is somehow not, it shouldn't be surprising, but it is. It's 1905, and the whole center of this thing is ads. J. Cutman and Company, Furniture, Stoves, and Carpets. Stone Hauling Lumber Company. J.K. Rogers, successor to V. Keebler, merchant and trader in flour, grain, hay, bran, salt, plaster, fertilizers, cement, field seeds, bird cell wagons, and farm implements. Market prices always paid for wheat, Bristol and Virginia, in Virginia and Tennessee. George Davis and Company, manufacturer. Wow, there's a lot of ads too. Like, the whole thing is ads. Golden Eagle Flour. let's actually look. We have the actual train schedule here. So we've got trains leaving on the Southern Railway. Let's see, at 12 midnight, the number 3 train departed Bristol for Knoxville, Chattanooga, and intermediate points. And apparently it had a sleeper car. 7:30 a.m., the number 1 train leaves for Knoxville and local stations. 10:50 a.m., the number 41 through train for Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Memphis. Carries sleeping cars and diner. Okay, so that one's like an express, I guess. The through train, meaning it wouldn't stop at locals. 2:15 p.m., number 11 for Asheville, Knoxville, and local stations. Connects with train for Knoxville at Morristown, Tennessee. That's on the Southern Railway. N and W would be Norfolk and Western. And they had ones departing at 8:15 a.m., headed for Lynchburg, Roanoke, and intermediate points with a sleeper car. 1 p.m. for Roanoke, Lynchburg, and intermediate local stations. 6:55 p.m. headed for New York, Washington, D.C., Norfolk, Lynchburg, Roanoke, and all points east. As a through train, meaning, again, I think an express. I think it's interesting that they list the furthest destination first on the 6:55. So the 8:15 and the 1 that go between Bristol and Lynchburg and Roanoke, Lynchburg is the furthest location there. But the 6:55 one, New York is the furthest, then Washington, then Norfolk, Lynchburg, Roanoke, etc. So they started, just interesting. Virginia and Southwest Railway, I believe, is V&SW. I love that. Natural tunnel route. I'm interested to learn about that. Departing for Appalachia, Big Stone Gap, and local stations. 4 p.m. for Gate City, Big Stone Gap, Appalachia, and local stations. Carries through sleeper for Louisville and Cincinnati. 3:15 p.m. for Elizabethton, Mountain City, and all local stations on the Tennessee Division. And then we've got the Holston Valley Railway, which I've never heard of. So it's a good thing they spelled it out because I would have had no clue. Heading for Big Creek Fish Dam, Fields, etc., and local stations. That must be like super local. Because I have no clue. It's doing it again. Why is it doing? Pretzel, are you broken? I don't know what's going on with Pretzel. It plays a song and then it stops. We'll continue monitoring. It's fine. And then, of course, they had the arrivals on the same routes heading the other way. This is gigantic. Like, this is like the size of a full-size like newspaper page for this railway time card, this train schedule. Let's see what else is in here. Did Pretzel have an update? And Hannah, I think possibly. I saw a mention it was either in email or socials or somewhere that they were saying that there had been some sort of problem and that it should be fixed. But I think that was like a login problem, but it's possible that this is just another problem that wasn't talked about with that. Zoom out a little bit here. Oh, No, I think that is the proper place to. All right, we got the anniversary edition of the Rono Times. This is a photocopy, but this is an old photocopy. It's so weird because this is a copy, but the copy is like really, really old. Yes, there was an ad for a jeweler/optometrist on the prior sheet, Hannah. That was the one. I got stuck on it for a minute because the jeweler/optometrist ad mentioned that they were an official watch inspector, and I'm curious as to why official watch inspectors were needed. Was there? Does that just mean that they're a certified, like they can fix your watch? I can't understand why there would be a need for an official inspector of watches. How much inspection of watches were we doing in 1905? But yeah, there was an ad for a jeweler/optometrist. So this is actually an issue of the Rono Times from November of 1926. Norfolk and Western is backbone of city's prosperity. History of big railroad system shows how Roanoke was built. Coming of Shenandoah Valley Road to Big Lick principal move in starting Virginia's Magic City, and its subsequent development has been parallel with that of the Norfolk and Western. The Magic City? Okay, I have lived here, like I said, about 8 years in this area, and I have never heard it referred to as the Magic City. I'm learning new things. I'm looking up Roanoke right now because I'm very curious. Do other people know? I don't know. This is not something I knew. I'm also getting really distracted because I had a bot to eliminate on one of the channels, and my watch just keeps pushing notifications to me. But okay. Roanoke, Virginia, with a population that ballooned from under 700 residents in 1880 to over 16,000 in 1890, and earning itself the nickname the Magic City in the process. I'm still like, how have I lived here for 8 years and never knew that it had this nickname? Also, I'm very curious to know more. But the railroad influential in the growth of the city. We could look at this map, but we have a better version of this map than in this 1926 newsprint. Let's see. Okay. I have lots of really big things. So this is a photo, clearly. Wreck of number 14 and 37, October 20th, 1920. Rural Retreat, Virginia. So this is a photo of two trains that crashed into each other in 1920. It surprisingly doesn't seem terrible. Yeah, the two engines are smashed into one another, and there's a little bit of buckling in like the cars immediately behind them, but all the cars are still on the track. And it's not like super crumpled. That's actually like surprising. They seem like they just hit each other, but like that doesn't seem too bad. I mean, it's bad, but could have been so much worse. Another lengthy image here. I don't know what this is. It appears to have been, I think this was rolled at some point. It's got creases like it was folded, but it looks to me like it was also rolled at some point. So this is Norfolk, Virginia. If you take the Amtrak from here up to like New York area, you're still going to pass by this area. You're still going to pass through Norfolk. I can't exactly tell what this first word is, or what these two words are. Clarkside, Norfolk, West Virginia. Oh, this is Norfolk, West Virginia. North Fork, West Virginia. This isn't Norfolk. This is Clarkside, North Fork, West Virginia. Wow, I read this entirely wrong. Interesting. It's interesting to me partly because that's a gigantic picture, and who needs a picture like that? Okay, we've got a diagram, an engineering diagram here, for the Westinghouse automatic brake. So a diagram for a braking system for a train. Passenger car. tender, engine. Wow. That's interesting. So the braking system, this Westinghouse automatic brake, actually runs on, it's not just on the engine. The brake system connects to passenger car here, the tender, which is like where the fuel, like the coal goes in a coal train, and then the engine. And like the brake system actually connects the first three cars together. I did not know that. That's really neat. I am not super knowledgeable about trains, but I am finding this stuff interesting. West Yard Wreck. June something, 1922. So another panoramic shot of a train wreck. Black and white. Kind of hard to tell what I'm looking at. This one has cars that, yeah, like this one is significantly worse than the one that we saw in the other photo. Because these are cars that are all burned and crunched. I usually end up bringing the oversized things and then we never look at them, which is why I wanted to start with oversized stuff today. Woo! Sorry, I just got static shock in my ears moving that map, and about to be static shocked again from my headphones. Remember I said there were some really large things? This is quite large. I may have to zoom all the way to even have a chance. There's a bit of a glare. I can turn that light off and potentially, or we can just work around it. We can work around it, I think, is the best. But this is a map of the Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio Railroad, connecting the railroads of Virginia with the railroads of Kentucky on the shortest route east and west from the Mississippi Valley to the Atlantic Ocean. This is published by G.W. and C.B. Colton and Company in New York. Is there a date? Entered according to Act of Congress in the year 1881. So this map is from 1881 of the Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio Railroad. Let's see. The red lines indicate finished railroad and the blue indicate proposed, I think. Connecting railroads finished. is the red. Proposed is blue dashed. But there's also yellow, and I don't have any indication of what that means. So I don't know, but let's zoom in and see some of the detail. So over here, we've got Washington, D.C. and Alexandria called out. Harper's Ferry up in Maryland is here. Winchester, Virginia over here. And then the rail connected down, looks like, to Fredericksburg, Gordonsville. I have never heard of Gordonsville. I grew up in Virginia. Baltimore is up here. Gordonsville. Not a place that we pay much attention to today. Charlottesville. We got Waynesboro, Staunton. Connects on over to Richmond and Petersburg. Over on the side here. Wow. Oh, nope. I lost control of the camera. 1 second. I lost control of the zoom. Maybe? I'm having a great tech day today, y'all. Hang on, I just have to reset the camera. Because it decided to stop responding. Who knows? Yep, come on. Anyway, it's an interesting map. It's a gigantic map. This, just looking at this map makes me think of playing Railroad Tycoon as a kid. Yeah, so Richmond, Petersburg, Lynchburg. In 1881, it looks like it connected down to So it goes through Roanoke and gets all the way down to Pulaski area before then the proposed New River branch. And in the north, it goes all the way up Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I can't see the top corner. Nope, all the way up to New York. New York is actually in the border of the map. But apparently the railroad went all the way there. I love, so this map doesn't have much of a legend. It just says that solid red lines are connecting railroads that are finished, and the dotted and solid blue lines are proposed routes. There's a yellow line that starts in Bristol, Tennessee/Virginia, goes up through Pulaski, through Roanoke, through Waynesboro, through Hagerstown to Harrisburg, and then cuts over to Philadelphia, and that's it. But there's no indication on the guide as to what, on the legend, as to like what the yellow line means. It doesn't say. Also, there are dotted red lines in the water. And there's no indication of what a dotted red line means or why there would be routes indicated on the water. Presumably, they connect to some sort of shipping for cargo transport between places like Norfolk, Richmond, and places east across the Atlantic. But there's no explanation. So I'm very curious about that as far as this map is concerned. Oh. Something I have now learned. Oh, gosh. What do you mean, no signal? Hello? Hi. One of the channels has lost signal entirely. Hold, please. I am going to endeavor to fix this issue. Having a great time with this, yeah? Come on. Now it's just blank. You all can see, like on the Rogan 27 channel, there's not a problem. But on the library's channel, okay, it's back. I have, whatever. Hi, welcome back. Sorry about the technical snafu there. Let's keep exploring. We've looked at the oversized things, and now I've learned that gigantic documents in Mylar sleeves do not mix well with wired headphones. Norfolk and Southern, Norfolk Western, accounting, historical articles. That sounds interesting. Memorabilia and ephemera. Yes, please. Let's see what we've got. Norfolk and Western Railway, historical articles. The finest steam engines ever built. When a giant Y6 locomotive dropped its fire in Williamson, West Virginia in May 1960, it completed a 122-year era of steam on the Norfolk and Western. N&W was the last major U.S. railroad to employ steam power in quantity, and since its first home-built locomotive moved in 1883, its motive power has been recognized as the best. Except for a few switchers, all N&W steam engines between 1927 and December 1953, when the last coal burner in this country was completed, came from its Roanoke, Virginia shops. Norfolk and Western now is powered by a modern fleet of all-purpose diesels, both efficient and dependable, but for those who hold nostalgic memories of steam. We here present short biographies and portraits of the A, the J, and the Y6, last of the great coal-burning locomotives, the finest steam engines ever built. Norfolk and Western Railway, Public Relations Department, Roanoke, Virginia. So, this is a picture of Train 16 at Williamson, West Virginia in 1959. The photo is by O. Winston Link. I get to learn about trains. Okay, I might be a little excited by that. Class A, numbers 1200 through 1242. These 2664 single expansion articulated 1200s were prime favorites of the men who ran them. 2664 refers to the wheels. Hi, Lord Portico. So 2664 means you've got 2, 6, 6, and 4. It's the wheels on the engine. And the number is the pattern of wheels. So you've got 2 at the very front, then 2 sets of 6, and then a set of 4. And I did not know that before I put together this stream and was trying to accurately describe the photograph I used in the promotional materials for alt text. Used principally in freight service on the flatter portions of the Norfolk and Western east of Roanoke and west of Williamson. Oh! Yeah, thank you for the follow, Sinlin. Also, I think I missed it way back when. Yes, Fludan, thank you for the resubscription. I don't know what, I got distracted by the fact that Roganbot, for some reason, the bot just posted a 9-digit number for no apparent reason. It was very confusing. Okay. Used principally in freight service on the flatter portions of the Norfolk and Western east of Roanoke and west of Williamson. They also saw duty in heavier passenger service, or heavy passenger service, particularly troop movements, designed and built by the railway's Roanoke shops. They had roller bearings, tractive effort of 114,000 pounds, and could attain speeds over 70 miles per hour. Hi, Shadows of Life. The Class A was the longest engine ever built by Norfolk and Western at 121 feet 9 1/4 inches with tender, weighed 951,600 pounds with tender, and had 70-inch drivers. As one engineer said, there's simply nothing wrong with it. You can't build a better steam engine. And hundreds of rail fans who visited the Blue Ridge Summit during the twilight of steam will never forget the sight of a pair of Class A giants as they battled the grade on frosty mornings, their long string of loaded coal hoppers snaking behind them for the haze. So that's the Class A. In blue here we have the Class J. Numbers 600 through 613. Oh, okay, Concay, so hello. Thank you for the resubscription, or the resubscription with Prime, no less. Welcome. To thousands of rail fans, the mere words Class J brings to memory the sleek and shiny streamliners which powered Norfolk and Western passenger trains between 1941 and 1959. The J's were unique both in appearance and operation. Nobody ever found out how fast they could go, but their feats of dependability and power were well known to operating men. I'm just going to throw out a historical terms. Just for the generalizing use of the word men, yes, in the 1950s and before, people operating the railroads most likely were male. But this is a feature? This is a common thing in English from sometime in the 1800s through today, where people were taught to use the male pronouns when referring generally. So talking about operating men could refer to humans. Interesting, we've got, yeah, there's something up with Roganbot. That is supposed to be a note to say that ads are running. The automated ads started. Also, yes, Fluidan, you are correct. It does appear to be a 484. What is up with Moobot? I don't understand. What is this number and why is it in there? Very strange. Also, we've had this wonderful technology issue today where Pretzel just won't continue playing songs. How has everybody's day been going? I'm going to get back to this document here in just one second. Whatever. I now know that I need to look into Moobot and figure out what's up with the ad notification being just a 9-digit number now instead of an actual message. But I will deal with that after stream. Engaged in professional trademark juggling? No! Also, I'm sort of delaying because there are automated ads running on one of the channels right now. So I'm vamping. And while I vamp, I can try and figure out why it's doing this. Anyway, this is always the way it goes. Like, what? Yeah. What? So confusing. I wonder if it doesn't like... I'm so confused. Anyway, the ad break should have ended, so we will get back to looking at... But yeah, I don't know what's up with Moobot. Moobot did weird things. Anyway. Class J brings to memory the sleek and shiny steamliners, which powered Norfolk and Western passenger trains between 1941 and 1959. The J's were unique both in appearance and operation. Nobody ever found out how fast they could go, but their feats of dependability and power were well known to operating men. Another project of the Norfolk and Western Designing Board, the first 11 were built in Roanoke between 1941 and 1943. The last 3 moved out in 1950 with no changes even after millions of miles of operation by the others. J engines with tenders were 109 feet 2 inches long and weighed 872,600 pounds. They had 70-inch drivers, a tractive effort of 80,000 pounds, and were completely roller bearing equipped. Slightly over my head with that. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it is meant to be impressive. The last J to steam on the Norfolk and Western was the 611 on a rail fan trip between Roanoke and Williamson on October 26, 1959. And the last one on this flyer is the Class Y6, train numbers 2101 through 2200. 100 of these mighty 2882 compound articulated locomotives comprised the heavy-duty fleet of Norfolk and Western Steam Power. Norfolk and Western first operated mallet engines in 1910, and these represented the epitome of compound development. All built in Roanoke, the first 19 were originated as Class Y5, but were later modernized to conform to the Y6 class. Improvements brought to the Y6A and the Y6B improvements caused 2 subvariants, it looks like. These engines were used in all types of freight work, even yard switching, but were particularly suited to the heavy grades and curvatures in Norfolk and Western's coal fields. The Y6 had tractive effort of 152,206 pounds, simple, and 126,838 pounds compound. What? I might need some education on trains, because I don't understand what a compound articulated locomotive is, but apparently it has an effect on its tractive effort. It weighed 990,120 pounds with tender and was 114 feet, 10 and a half inches long with tender. Blue Rooster, thank you for the affiliate anniversary celebration hat. It's good to see you. It had 58-inch driving wheels and needle roller bearings. Both the Y and A engines carried auxiliary water tenders on road trips, enabling them to travel between major terminals without stop. Interesting. Okay. What is a compound articulated locomotive? Educate me, Internet. An articulated locomotive is a steam locomotive, rarely an electric locomotive, with one or more engine units that can move independently of the main frame. Articulation allows the operation of locomotives that would otherwise be too large to negotiate a railroad's curves, whether main lines or special lines with extreme curvature, such as logging, industrial, or mountain railways. You've always wanted to do a really long train ride? I've only ever done commuter rail, so I've never, well, I guess I did, I took a train to DC for a conference one year, but that's not really long. Like, that's just a couple, like, the train was cheaper, I think. I don't know. Closest you've done is the one from San Fran to LA. I think ultimately it ended up being less expensive to take the train from here up to DC than it was to drive. because of things like parking and such. But it was also partly just because I wanted to take the train. But yeah, I used to do a commuter rail to work every day in Minnesota. That was an interesting flyer. There's a lot of stuff in here about Norfolk and Western because that was what the guy, Perkins collected mainly. Ooh, this is a cool little page. Let's get my camera to zoom out. Norfolk and Western predecessor railroads. January 1st, 1861, not to scale. Legend. We have the line with just the single ticks is the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad and Salt Works branch. The line with the X's on it is the South Side Railroad and City Point branch, and the line with the double ticks is Norfolk and Petersburg Railroad. So, you can see they're all in sort of southern Virginia. The Virginia and Tennessee is starting here in Bristol, heads up to Glade Springs, with a branch over to Saltville, comes up to Mount Airy, through Wytheville, up to Max Meadows. I have not heard of Max Meadows. Up to Big Lick, which is Roanoke, and then all the way up to Lynchburg. So it connects Bristol to Lynchburg. And then the South Side Railroad went from Lynchburg to Appomattox to Berks Station and over to Petersburg with a branch heading up to City Point, but ultimately connecting Lynchburg to Petersburg. And then the Norfolk and Petersburg went, surprisingly, between Norfolk and Petersburg with a stop in Suffolk. And those are the railroads that merged to become the Norfolk and Western. That's neat. And they put this together on this onion skin paper with little cutouts that are pasted into place and the rail lines drawn in pencil, and then photocopied it to make handouts. Hi, welcome back, Hannah. I have not seen this word before. I know what an obituary is. An orbituary? This appears to be an obituary for a train. Maybe that's why it's called an orbituary? I don't know. But I'm going to read it because it's Norfolk and Western number 645. January 1959 to December 1980. Norfolk and Western number 645 began life during January 1959 at LaGrange, Illinois, as an EMD GP9. She was a small baby, weighing in at 247,000 pounds. She could lug around 1,600 gallons of diesel fuel in her tank and develop a horsepower of 1,750. Her features included such things as Type 26L air brakes, dual control, radio, dynamic brakes, and all-weather windows. She emerged from General Motors wearing black paint with yellow lettering and trim. Later, with a new Norfolk and Western president, she sported blue paint with yellow lettering and trim. Then, in the early 70s, she, along with many of her sisters, were again sent to the paint shop this time emerging with black paint and a bold white NW gracing her long hood. She didn't care what type of locomotive she was assigned to. She could be seen with other GP9s, Alcos, GEs, EMDs, and possibly even a Baldwin. It is even possible that she may have kept company with off-road power. On December 29th, 1980, she was running eastbound towards home at Dixie Caverns, Virginia, when she ran nearly head-on into GEC 37, number 8072, on a westbound freight. The crash tore off one of her cab doors and threw it across a road where it came to rest against a fence. She flipped over the end one time and trapped one of her crew members when she landed. Fortunately, none of the crew was killed. The wreck derailed and damaged units number 6141, 8051, 881, 2915, 1641 in her train, and units numbered 8072, 6172, and 1618 on the westbound train. The wreck also derailed a total of 28 freight cars. Due to her age and physical condition after the derailment, it is unlikely that she will be resurrected. That's what we call one of those Sunday words. Wondering if it was a typo or a word we no longer use. Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably just a typo. It was cute, and thankfully there were no fatalities, which allows the cuteness to be actually cute. NWSL? What does that stand for? Oh! If I look at the bottom of the page, it's Norfolk, or it's Northwest Short Line. There's a hat. There is a hat. Hi, Pretty Witchery. Short Line is one of the railroads in Monopoly, but Monopoly Short Line is New Jersey, because all of the properties on the Monopoly board, the traditional Monopoly board, are Atlantic City, New Jersey. So the Northwest Short Line apparently is in Seattle. Norfolk and Western Class W2 280 by Tom Dressler. The W2 Class 280s of the Norfolk and Western were acquired in large quantities during the 1903-1905 period and served the Norfolk and Western well up until the late years of steam operations. The W2s were numbered in the 600, 700, 800, and 900 series and were built by the Rono shops of the Norfolk and Western, the Baldwin Locomotive Works, and the Richmond and Cook Works of the American Locomotive Company, as may be seen in the accompanying roster. I don't have the accompanying roster. As built, the W2s were fitted with Stevenson valve gear, and many of the class retained it until the locomotives were scrapped. But through the years, most of the class were fitted with long-frame Baker valve gear for more efficient distribution of steam. When the Baker valve gear was added, power reverse apparatus was also added, and this brought a cry from the engineers of the time for help in reversing the slide valve locomotives. And so, power reserve was added to some of the slide valve locomotives. Also, as built, the W2s were equipped with the standard Norfolk and Western boiler tube road pilot. But as the class was bumped back to switching use in later years, switching pilots were installed. I know what all of these words mean, but I don't know what they mean when configured together like this. There's some jargon happening in here, some railroad jargon, and I thought I was a bit of a railroad fan. I thought I understood a lot of railroad stuff. I'm now realizing there are a lot of railroad terms that I just don't know what they mean. The vast majority of the class had the high-mounted boiler front headlight bracket with tank-type headlight, but of course in later years, the Pile National type headlight was substituted. A few of the class did receive the center-mounted headlight and bracket. Twin single-phase air pumps were mounted at running board level on the fireman's side, but at least one W2 was equipped with a larger compound pump. Several of the class were equipped with the Nathan low water alarm. I think Nathan is the brand name, and it is a low water alarm. Mounted to the left side of the left of the steam dome. I assume low water would be bad for a steam operated train. Sunbeam generators, being standard in later years, were mounted directly in front of this dome, and the air ringer type bell in front of the generator. I'm sorry, I know Sunbeam generators is probably, again, Sunbeam is probably the brand name of the generators, but I read it and my brain said, they were making sunbeams? What is this, science fiction? Yes, okay, cool. Several of the W2s, no, I skipped. The standard tender was the 9,000 gallon version of the Era that was also being used behind most of the other Norfolk and Western steam power. These tenders rode on Baldwin swing motion trucks, but a few did have the Andrews leaf spring tender trucks. Many tenders had coal boards added to increase coal capacity. The cab was the standard Norfolk and Western 3-window version, and the fact that the boiler stuck back into the cab to almost the rear cab wall made conversion between the Hogger and Fireboy almost impossible. The what and the what? The Hogger and Fireboy? Pretty Witchery, thanks for dropping by, and yeah, thanks for the Godspeed for the train jargon. Hogger? Oh, boo? Railroad slang terms and their meanings. I found it. This is a forum. Like, this is not authoritative, but these are apparently slang terms. Hogger and Fireboy are slang terms. The Hogger is the engineer. Fireboy is the locomotive fireman, the person who tends the fire on the... So the Hogger is the engineer, and I don't understand the conversion. Oh! It's because I misread the sentence. The cab was the standard Norfolk and Western 3-window version, and the fact that the boiler stuck back into the cab to almost the rear cab wall made conversation between the Hogger and Fireboy almost impossible. So the Hogger is the engineer, the Fireboy is the person that's stoking the flames. And I originally read conversion, but it's conversation, and that makes so much more sense. Several of the W2s were sold to other roads in the Norfolk and Western Territory, the Winston-Salem Southboard having several. Number 716, while in use on the WSSB, sported a USRA 12,000-gallon tender with the coal bunker cut down to almost rear deck level. Other roads to use the W2 were the Chesapeake Western and the High Point, Thomasville, and Denton. There were so many railroads. Also, I'm really curious, like, they talk authoritatively about train numbers, and it's surprising to me, like, they like here where they refer to number 17 or 716. I assume there could be multiple number 716s when you're talking about multiple railroads, and that number 716 is just referring to the Norfolk and Western number 716. But that, like the obit that we read earlier, was referencing a specific engine by number and referenced the cars it was hauling by number. And I'm like, from an inventory management perspective, that makes total sense. But also is somewhat baffling to me that I never thought of that, and I never would have thought. I don't know, it just seems like, I guess I thought they were more interchangeable, but yeah, I'm not sure. It just struck me as strange that they talk about specific engines by number, and that it's just surprising to me. Oh, there's a backside to this. I'm not going to read the rest of it right now. Engineer's side view of the number. See, again, we're going to talk about the specific numbers here. Engineer's side view of the number 929, which, see, I guess I'm expecting, like, the way you would talk about, like, a car, where you talk about the make and the model. And here, there is a make and there is a model, although, unlike cars, the same model could be made by different companies. So you could have the same model being made by different makes. But they don't refer to the model. They refer to the number of the engine itself. So they don't talk about the class of engine, the model of engine. They talk about the specific engine, number 929, which it is just, it makes sense, but it struck me as odd because I just hadn't thought of it in that way. July 16, 1934 shows the older small cab side only lettering, Stevenson valve gear, and the unusual check valve arrangement on top of the boiler behind the sand dome. Check valve arrangement behind the sand dome. So I had thought this was the sand dome. So what's behind it? Zoom in further. Unless the sand dome is over here. I'm not sure which part is the sand dome. I don't know enough. I'm failing. Actually, I'm not that worried about it. It is interesting, though. The fireman's side view of 929 reveals that this locomotive was in use in later days, as witnessed by the Nathan low water alarm over the air pumps. Still had Stevenson valve gear. This is number 674 down here. Interesting. But then this is the 929 again. No. What? Yes. Oh, I'm reading captions weird. No. Sorry, this is the 701. And this is the 674. This here is the 929 again, just from the front. And then this down here is 678. apparently there's a lot to learn about trains, a lot more that I don't know than I thought I did. Like, I'm surprised by the amount that I don't know, which is fun, but also wow. Okay. Norfolk and Western General Office Building, Bluefield, West Virginia. East, west, north, south. This is like an office card, I guess. It has a lovely picture of the number 600. Ooh, this one has a caption though. It's interesting. They're mounted on construction paper, which is super acidic. One of Norfolk and Western Railway's streamlined passenger locomotives designed and built in the Norfolk and Western's Roanoke shops. Cool. Let's see. There's a lovely little Christmas card in here from 1906. Norfolk and Western Railway, the Passenger Accounting Department. Wishing a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And the state motto and seal of Virginia, that's Sic Semper Tyrannis over here. That is the state motto of Virginia, and this is the state seal of Virginia. It's odd to me, like, that's in there, but okay. Okay. I'm just going to pass that one by there. Freight handling efficiency. It's a ribbon. Norfolk and Western Railway. It's a white ribbon honoring service for freight handling efficiency in 1921. Let's see what else we got. These are look at that. Ooh, we'll look at that too. All right, brochure. The Pocahontas, the Cavalier, and this is historical material. There are depictions that were common at the time that might not be the best way to depict things. The whole feathered headband for indigenous folk was extrapolating a tradition from one group to many groups and is not generally appropriate. But these are historical documents. So yes, thank you for dropping the historical terms in there. The Pocahontas and the Cavalier. completely air-conditioned streamlined coaches, Pullman, and dining cars. Norfolk and Western Railway. Tickets, reservations. So this is a ticket envelope for the railroad. The Norfolk and Western Railway maintains a complete travel service with offices in the following cities: Chattanooga, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Durham, Lynchburg, New York, Norfolk, Richmond, Washington, and Winston-Salem. We have the map of the railroad, route of the aristocrats, the Pocahontas, the Cavalier. This is like getting into naming the train, the passenger lines, in order to advertise them. That was interesting. So I don't know what this is. Is this a... It's a hat. It's a paper hat. I'm not gonna do too much with it, but it's like a paper, like a fry cook's like type hat. Like see, it's the paper. Pull out to your head size. The front is here, which would make this the back on the left. Huh. I've never actually seen one of these hats in person. I've only ever seen them in like movies. It's slightly discolored, like it's aged paper because it's a paper hat. That's neat. Norfolk and Western Railway. Solve your Christmas shopping problems. Is this Sky Mall but for trains? Number N&W 303 pen and pencil combination, $1. Point-O-Matic, the new mechanically perfected ballpoint pen and mechanical pencil. Combination mechanical pencil ballpoint pen, gray plastic barrel, chrome trim and cap, embodies the latest developments in pencil and pen construction. Number N&W 303 CH. Each $1. Refill for pen, extra long, blue ink, 35 cents or 3 for $1. Extra leads, 1 5/8 inches, medium grade, 10 cents for a tube. When is this from? This is an order form like from Sky Mall for trains. Sadly, I do not see a date. Ladies or golf pencil. I'm sorry, what? Ivory plastic barrel showing Norfolk and Western train and emblem. Easy to carry in purse or pocket. 35 cents each. It's a lady's pencil because it's small? I'm confused by that, but okay. Snap it key holders. Key holder holds auto keys and may be easily snapped on and off the chain for personal keys. 15 cents each. Windbreak lighter. An attractive lightweight lighter which will give years of trouble-free satisfaction. 50 cents. It's got the picture of the train on it. Had to be small to fit in the purses they had at the time. Plastic barrel mechanical pencil, 40 cents each or 12 for $4. All the features of more expensive pencils has guaranteed propel, refill, and expel style mechanism. Special items not illustrated. Combination wallet, genuine leather pass case, and billfold. Gold stamped with N and W emblem. Pencil lighter. Don't load your pockets. Carry your lighter and pencil this convenient way. Pearl barrel pencil. Beautiful white pearl barrel mechanical pencil. Guaranteed. Products of Automatic Quick Point Pencil Company pencils. Okay, so this is not SkyMall. This is just an order form for products from this pencil company. I think. Maybe not. Anyway, it made me think of SkyMall. Matchbooks. I was like, what are these? Are these like little bookmarks? No, these are matchbooks. Of different, like, Norfolk and Western Railway, the scenic route. East, west, north, south. Another from the scenic route. Huh. Those are neat. It makes sense that they would have matchbooks. I just never have seen railroad matchbooks before. But unsurprisingly, I brought way more stuff than there is time to look at. Because it's all so neat and interesting and all right, I'm going to look at maybe one or two of these. These are like this one. They're not postcards per se. They have text on the back. These are like informational souvenir cards. These are like baseball cards, but for trains. The Norfolk and Western Railway's passenger trains reflected the character of the territory which it served and the people who lived along its lines. Affected by neither flamboyance of appointments nor superfast schedules, the Norfolk and Western enjoyed a local reputation for punctuality and comfort. Its roadbed and track were maintained to a degree which would have evoked the envy of the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad in the 1920s, and its traditional heavyweight equipment insulated the traveler from the usual sensations of a rail-borne voyage. And although the railroad's premier formation, the Pocahontas, required most of an entire day to cover, the 677 miles between Norfolk, Virginia, an Atlantic Ocean port, and Cincinnati, Ohio, the great metropolis on the Ohio River, the trip was more of a relaxing interlude than one marked by urgent necessity. Despite 39-mile-per-hour overall average speeds, Norfolk and Western's passenger carrying consists no, that's what it says. Despite 39-mile-per-hour overall average speeds, Norfolk and Western's passenger carrying consists moved with deceptive ease, reflecting the unhurried atmosphere of their environment. with their passage unhampered by terminal delays for motive power, lubrication, fuel, and water. The maroon-hued consists were hauled by a pool of 14 huge 484s, which relayed the trains across the system. What? I do not. It's confusing to me because I don't know this word in this context. What is a train consist? Yes, please. Also known as a traffic count. Document showing the number of loaded or empty cars, weight in tons, and length in feet of a specific train. A locomotive consist shows the identifying number and location of each locomotive within that consist for a specific train. So it's like the manifest, I think. There's way more stuff than we have time to look at. The motto of our stream. It'd be nice if trains could make a comeback. The freight train companies own most of the rail lines, so they take priority. It means the passenger trains may have to wait for hours for the other trains. That is true, Hannah. And as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I used to commute on commuter rail when I lived in Minnesota, and they were fined for it because the government, there were penalties, but because during rush hour, the commuter trains were supposed to be given priority over the freight trains, even though the freight trains owned the rail itself. The government, rather than taking the rail away from them, said you have to let the commuter trains have priority. That didn't stop us from occasionally being sidelined and having to sit for hours while freight trains went by instead. They just paid the fines because the fines were nothing. A couple $100,000 was nothing to the railroad company. I could take the train from Omaha to Chicago, but I could get there faster if I take a bus or drive myself. Yeah. The train, and it is possible to have high-speed trains. Our rail lines are not built for them and would not be able to do them here in the U.S. The infrastructure is just too old, and but high-speed passenger trains exist and are in frequent use in like Japan, and even in like Europe. Like regular rail usage is a thing. You can just hop on the train and go from city to city. So, but yeah, the railroads are very much devoted to freight and earning money for corporations here in the U.S. But on the other hand, my cousin met his wife on the train from Chicago to Omaha, and they were married for about 20 years. Aw. That's sweet. There is a romance about trains. Like they have that like flavor of romance, but the passenger rail in the U.S. is not. It doesn't live up to that romance today. Let's see. Which one? There's no time. And these are heavy. But I want to see what else. Ooh. Because everything has been about Norfolk and Western. Not terribly surprising, but... So this is actually a single document. It is torn. It's been encapsulated in mylar to protect it, and it was encapsulated in 3 separate pieces because that just helps to protect it even more. But this is a map of the Atlantic Coastline Railways. But so you can see, like, this used to be connected there, this used to be connected there, and they've been split in order to just protect the individual pieces and make it easy to look at them. She was from Hungary, eventually going to Des Moines to meet up with the exchange family she stayed with as a high school student. Aw. He was from Omaha. They both lived and worked in Chicago. That's railroads bringing people together. I like. Oh, yes. I don't have a lot of experience even working with our railroad collections because I just haven't had much reason to. So this episode was as much for me as for all of y'all, because I wanted to see some of our railroad stuff and I never get to use it. This photo here I know that this is the locomotive factory in Roanoke. It doesn't say anywhere. Nauseum. I'm sad. Yeah, the mic, it started off okay-ish, but it was, I'm struggling with the microphone. It's much better today than it was last week. I am trying to solve the problem, and I'm sorry. 2,600 men. That's what it says. I'm saddened that the sounds the same as it did at the start of stream. Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna try next week. I'm gonna try doing something different with the microphone. I have a spare microphone at home that I can bring in. Yeah, there's been microphone issues, Nauseum. This is good for how things have been going with the microphone, and yeah, I'm just gonna try completely different hardware next week. This picture is the number 549. This is what ended up being the image for the promotionals for this episode, which means I have some information about it. But quickly, before I need to make sure that no ads run because we're at the end of stream and I'm going to need to stop. But let me pull up. I have information about this train. All right. This is the number 549, which is a Norfolk and Western Class E2B steam locomotive. It's one of 10 E2B locomotives manufactured by the Roanoke, Virginia shops in 1913-1914 and operated until the 1930s. In the picture, you can see the engineer leaning out of the window and two support crews standing next to it. Yeah. It is a 462 Pacific wheel arrangement. I don't really know what the Pacific portion of that means. But yeah, I had to look up stuff because I was like, I describe this. And I learned. That was my first encounter. What is... Ooh, there's pencil. I don't know. It says New River ? Vicinity Bull. Yeah, I can't read where their guess is as to where this is, but this is a railroad bridge over a river that is a very icy river, apparently. It's in the same kind of frame as the other two. I imagine it's probably the same time frame, but neither of the other two were specifically dated. I get the sense these are probably like 19... I don't know, sometime either like the 19-teens when the E2B was being manufactured, or possibly like 1920s, or based on just like the frame and the embellishments on it. But yeah, icy railroad bridge. It's an interesting shot. I don't know. I had fun looking at railroad stuff. I do need to wind us down and end the stream today. Like I said, I'm going to try some different microphone hardware next week because for some reason we're having microphone issues with the lavalier mics that I've been using for years, but suddenly they're not working very well. So I have some other options, and I'm going to try something different. Let's see. Next week for stream, I have oh yeah, okay, so next week we have two small collections from African American female architects, Ameza Meredith and Norma Sklarek. So we're going to look at some architecture stuff next week, assuming everything goes well. I have an eye doctor appointment next Wednesday morning. It should not impact the stream, but if it does, then, you know, an announcement will go out. But hopefully, today's stream was a bit rough, but I had fun. I had fun learning that, oh my gosh, there is so much more for me to learn about trains. That's my takeaway, is I know no train, like, slang terms. So much of the stuff I read today went over my head because I did not know what things were. But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed learning. So hopefully you did too. Next week we will be, as I said, looking at 2 small collections from African American architects from the International Archive of Women in Architecture. And so hopefully I will see some of you then. We are going to be rating Althaven today for the Streampunks, who are doing they're doing a marathon of their role-playing show Beacon. So I encourage you all to join and check out what's going on over at Althaven. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that I will see you all again soon for another Archival adventure every Wednesday right here, and hopefully with better audio in future. I don't know what's going on with the mics, but we'll get it fixed. Thanks for joining. I hope I see you all again soon. Until I do, keep exploring history, everybody.